Okay, reflections and transformations. Now we're going to continue with section 2.6. I split this up into 2 days because it can get a little bit confusing if I do not. So we just learned about up, down, left, right, stretch, compress, reflect. Now we are going to go ahead and do reflections. So I'm giving you the function 3x plus 7. And I want you to find the function g of x, which is the reflection of f of x over the y-axis. My body is the y-axis. I have a point here. If I'm reflecting over the y-axis, it is going from one side of the x-axis to the other side of the x-axis. So it's going from positive to negative or negative to positive. So that means I'm replacing x with negative x. So g of x is equal to 3 times x plus negative x plus 7. I replace x with negative x because that's what it means to be reflected over the y-axis. So negative 3x plus 7 is going to be my function that I am looking for. Okay? Again, given f of x is 2x minus 1, find the function g of x, which is the reflection of f of x over the x-axis. Over the x-axis. So, there is a fly or a bug, sorry. Now, I have, my arms are the y-axis, or the x-axis. Okay, so if I'm the x-axis, I need to take this point and needs to go and fold it over the x-axis. So it's going from here to the other quadrant. From the top quadrants to the bottom quadrants. So the x is going from here to here. The x value doesn't change. What changes is the y value goes from being positive to negative. From negative to positive. The x's remain the same. So what this means is you are simply going to take the f function and multiply the entire thing by a negative 1. When we do that, we get negative 2x plus 1, and that is the reflection over the x-axis. When you are reflecting over the y-axis, the x changes values from positive to negative, so you replace x with negative x. When you're reflecting over the x-axis, your y values change, so you multiply the entire function by a negative 1. So again, given f of x is the absolute value of x, you are going to stretch it by a factor of 4. So that means I'm multiplying it by 4. Then, reflect it over the y-axis. If I'm reflecting over the y-axis, I'm going over my body. X goes from being positive to negative. So I'm replacing x with a negative x. And then I'm going to go left 2 units. In order to go left 2 units, I'm inside the absolute value bars. Left means plus 2. And then, I need another color. I'm out of colors. It is what it is. Then I'm going to go down 9 units. To go down 9 units, I simply subtract 9. This is my new function. I've stretched it by 4. I reflected it over the y-axis by replacing x with negative x. I went to the left 2 units, and I have minus 9, going down 9 units. Okay, combining them. Let's keep going. The graph of g of x is the graph of f of x, which equals 4x. So g of x is equal to 4x, but it's going to be compressed vertically by a factor of a half. So I multiply that by a half. That is 4 times a half is 2x. Then reflect it over the y-axis. When you reflect over the y-axis, I'm putting x, it's going from positive to negative, so I'm replacing x with a negative x. So that's going to be 2 times negative x, which is just going to be negative 2x. What is the function rule for g of x? I just showed you that, and that is the answer. Okay? Again, the graph of g of x is the graph of f of x equals 2x. So now g of x is going to be 2x, but we're going to do things to it. Stretch vertically by a factor of 5. So I'm going to simply multiply it by 5. So that's going to give me 10x. Then, reflect it over the x-axis. My body, my arms are the x-axis. So my point's going to go from here, and I'm folding it over the x-axis. So what changed? My y value changed. So I'm going to multiply the whole thing by a -1. So that means if I multiply this whole thing by a -1, that gives me a -10x now. So this is your new function. Okay? What transformation changed the graph of f of x? So I'm going from here, and I want to go to here. So focus on one thing at a time. How am I going from a 2x to a 6x squared? Well, if you're saying we stretched it by 3, that would be accurate. Why do I say that? Because that means I'm taking 2x squared and multiplying it by 3 to give me 6x squared. Okay? But guess what? I can't forget about the -1. So now what's happening to the graph? If you said it's going down 1 unit, you would be right, because now I have a new function which is going to give you the 6x squared minus 1, which is what I was supposed to get. And I did that by stretching it by 3 first, and then secondly, I went down 1 unit. Okay? What transformations change the graph of f of x to the graph of g of x? Okay, so I'm right here. How am I going from 15x to 3x? What did I do? 15x to 3x. Well, I'm dividing by 5, but I can't divide by 5. I have to do multiplication. So when you divide by 5, what is that the same thing as? Multiplying or compressing by 1/5. So I compressed it by 1/5 to go from the 15x to the 3x. But I'm down here at -13, and then I'm going to go to -10. So how am I going from -13 to -10? I'm going to go up 3 units. Do we see that? So this is a compressive 1/5, and then up 3 units. Next, I'm giving you this function. These are 2 different problems. Since they are 2 different problems, I'm going to go like this, so you don't see this one. I want you to reflect this over the x-axis. That means you're distributing a negative. So I'm going to have a negative times -5x cubed minus 7. This gives me a 5x cubed plus 7. That is reflected over the x-axis. However, now I want to take the same exact function and reflect it over the y-axis. Well, that means I am going to replace x with a negative x. So a negative times a negative is a positive, times a negative is a negative. So this is going to be -5 times -3x cubed. A double negative creates a positive, and that is reflected over the y-axis. Up, down, left, right, stretch, compress, reflect. So this is just review from yesterday. So what is my parent function? My parent function is going to be the absolute value. What does the negative do? The negative's on the outside, so therefore it's reflected over the x-axis. 6 is a stretch of 6, plus 9 is going to go left 9, and -2 is going to go down 2. Last problem. This is a cube, so therefore my parent function is x cubed. The 2/3 is a fraction between 0 and 1, so it's going to be compressed 2/3. The -6 is going to the right 6 units. The +8 is going up 8 units, and guess what the reflection is? It is none. Tonight's homework is 2-6, worksheet 2.